Good evening. Welcome to Cafe Community. I'm your host, Cheryl Noble. And before we get started tonight, I wanted to take a moment to pay tribute to NCTV's Chief Engineer, Bill Carlquist, who sadly passed away last week. Bill was a master in the control room and all things related to the production of programs. My crew and I were fortunate to have learned from Bill, and we owe a lot to him. Bill will be missed, especially his delightful jokes. So tonight's show is dedicated to the memory of Bill. So on with the show. My first guest tonight has uplifting news on how to save lives with early detection of breast cancer. She is the executive director for the Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital Foundation. A warm welcome to the program to Kimberly Parker.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Kimberly. Welcome.
Thanks for having me tonight.
You're very welcome, and you do have good news for our residents in our community.
I do. We just finished in October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and there was a lot of good news. It's during this time of year that we really get to connect more closely with some of our breast cancer patients. And we have just come through Paint the Town Pink,
Yes.
which is an event that the union sponsors on our behalf. And I also had the fortunate opportunity to work with Nevada Union Girls Volleyball Team for Pink Night. And both of those have generated funds to raise money for a new small piece of equipment for our breast imaging center at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital.
We're the first for this, right?
We are the first. And in fact, this equipment is so state-of-the-art that it's not even being released till this month. And no other hospital in our entire hospital system is going to have this other than Sierra Nevada.
Oh, and it's a handheld biopsy machine, is that right?
It's
Or
a handheld
device?
biopsy, and any woman who has ever had to go through the process of the mammogram and then the ultrasound and then the biopsy, which is generally that third kind of check for next steps, has seen a rather kind of larger system. The handheld biopsy is it's going to be able to literally be handheld, and it is, what's interesting about it is in some cases for the biopsy they have to go in, more than one time to kind of get the cross-section they need. With the handheld biopsy, they're only going to likely have to, in most cases, unless it's very unusual, go in one time. So it's going to be less invasive, and it's just going to be a wonderful additional piece of equipment for our breast cancer or breast care fund.
Yeah, and the other funds that you have, the Barbara Schmidt Mylar, also provides funds for the low cost and even free mammograms.
Yes, one of the things we really like to get out in the community is information about the Barbara Schmidt Mylar Fund, because one of the biggest challenges, as you well know, is for the uninsured or underinsured, women and men to get their mammograms that may need them. And I actually say men because there are issues of breast cancer with men as well. And while we think of it as being something that women have to deal with, it's really, it has no boundaries. But the Barbara Schmidt Mylar Fund was created by a group of very thoughtful community citizens a number of years ago and is kept going each year by a triathlon in September. And the money from that helps to pay for mammograms for people who can't afford the cost. And that combined with, as you know, a Susan G. Komen grant that we received this year for our nurse navigators has enabled us to also provide the Moonlight Mammograms at the hospital. So there really isn't an excuse not to have your mammogram.
That's right. And we were talking earlier, too, that we're one of the few counties, because of our great support and our great fundraising efforts, there's been state cuts, and so assistance isn't available, but we can still provide. We're fortunate.
At this point, there's also a kind of sister program called the Cancer Detection Program, which is state funded. And that has gone away. Now, there is some talk that it's coming back at some time in the future, but when that fund went away, for people who didn't have the ability to pay for these things, there really was very little recourse in other areas of California. However, because we have the Barbara Schmidt Mylar Fund, we were able to continue that service. And I have to tell you that probably in the last year, not only due to that, but also due to economy, to people's insurances being cut, all the things that go along with that. We've probably seen a 300 to 500% increase of requests on that fund.
For the financial assistance.
For the financial assistance, but we've still been able to keep up with that.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's been really amazing. And you know, one of the things I tell people also is the Barbara Schmidt-Millar program does also have its own website. We have a website also with the foundation, but this particular group has a website, Barbara Schmidt-Millar, and you can just put that into Google and it'll take you right there. And it's really wonderful to go on and see the hundreds of women and men and volunteers. It's a triathlon for women, but men volunteer, and we've got just fabulous support in this community.
And I've participated the last couple of years, and it's just an inspiring and great community outreach and awareness to get early detection, so you can save lives. And we were also talking about our diagnostic center. It's state-of-the-art. It's top-rated.
The
Another
DI
good fortune.
Center is really, we were very blessed. It opened in 2006, and within 6 months, the breast imaging center area of the diagnostic imaging center was named one of the top 5 in the country by Imaging Technology. And we're very, very blessed for that. But the center has incredible equipment throughout the center. So there are the issues for breast cancer and breast detection, but there's also bone density, there's lab, there's, you know, MRI and CT, you know, within that center that are just incredible. And it's a very busy center. About 300 to 500 people a day go through that center.
Oh my gosh.
So it's very active.
Oh my gosh. So much good news. But before we run out of time, let's touch on the Moonlight Mammograms, because there's a few offered throughout the year, and the next one is coming up November 30th.
Moonlight Mammograms, again, are a fun chance. You know, mammograms aren't that exciting, but you can come have your mammogram, and there's food and wine and massages and music and all sorts of different activities going on. The next one's November 30th. There is one that is after that, February 3rd. We're able to offer these because of a grant that we did get through the Susan G. Komen Foundation, so we're very fortunate for that. They do need reservations. So the phone number for reservations is 274-6262, and that's the phone number of the Breast Imaging Center.
And there's financial assistance for those who need it.
Yes. That you know, what happens that night is when you sit down and start your appointment, the financial people will work with you if you have no insurance or need some assistance.
Great. No excuses. Well, thank you so much for coming on and letting us know that we've got funding and we're in good shape.
It's great to have good news in these times.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so much bad news out there, so it's really wonderful when we can deliver really great news.
Good. Thank you so much, Kimberly, and please come back to the show.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Cheryl.
Okay, we're going to take our first break, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Today, walk me down to the water, wash me down, okay, and I'm gone. Gone. Yes, I'm gone. Lay me down by the river. Lay me down slow, move around me like the water, rinse me down.
We're back now. My second guest is a best-selling author, a columnist for the Union newspaper. He is a certified life and business coach, and he is the founder of Pro Brilliance Leadership Institute. A warm welcome to Machen McDonald. Hi.
How you doing, Cheryl?
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And I was interested in picking your brains a little bit about businesses and startups. We're hearing more and more people are starting up. These are difficult times, but we're hearing that there's opportunity in adversary times. And where do people start if they need something to get going?
Well, we are in some uncertain times. There's a lot of ambiguity out there. And in various depressions and recessions, a lot of businesses have started in those periods of times. And one of the ways that is helpful for that is costs are actually very low to start up businesses during these times.
Yeah, if you need office space or startup funds or primarily gear, equipment or whatever. Okay, you're right. Hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, and so, in addition to that, it's also having a strong idea, noticing what's lacking in your area or in your community. Oftentimes will provide some insight as to a viable business opportunity. And there's always the question of, like you were saying, is it practical or, passion?
Right.
Probably one phrase might bring to life which one is correct, and that's pet rocks. Who would have ever thought that an idea like that was practical? But what comes behind the success of any business is really the marketing. I had a business professor, marketing professor, that says we know that 50% of marketing works, we just don't know which 50%.
Oh, I see.
Right? So it's a matter of, getting the message out there, telling everybody that'll listen, what you do and how they can benefit from what you do.
And finding the audience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in this day and age, the audience with the internet and so forth is much broader than it used to be.
Right, so it doesn't have to be right here in the community. You can go global if you're selling something on the web, or it seems even information is valuable to people, selling booklets on how-to or something. Just have to tap into some creative thoughts or research yourself.
Right,
Yes.
right. Well, that's a big piece, is the research. And there's a lot of actually free tools on the internet that you can use to do certain research to find out what the audience is looking for. Information is a great commodity that can be sold on the internet. I call it the reset button. It's like when we have the disposal in our sink, and it's not working, and we call the plumber and he comes by and pushes the red button and it's $80. But it's because he had that information. So there's probably some information that people have either from former employment or a passion or a hobby that they can share with other people that they're willing to pay for that information.
Right. And I think we'd be surprised on how many people who knew how many people would want a pet rock.
Exactly.
So, and it was successful for its time. Where are some of the local resources that people can turn to for the funding, for research besides internet or support? Of course, the Pro Brilliance Leadership Institute. What are some of your recommendations?
Well, as far as funding, I'd say relatives. Kind of kidding.
I wasn't going to say anything. Would your relatives adopt me?
Well, if you've got a good plan, they might. The thing to remember when it comes to finding financing for any business or venture is if you can display or communicate how people can get their money back as a result of investing. A lot of times that might come in the order of pre-sales. If you have a certain thing that you maybe haven't built yet, but you can show...
So commitment toward your product before.
Right, right. And so, there's things like the SBA, SedCorp is a local organization.
They've got funding. And in fact, I just learned that they've got an increase in some of their SBA funding. And SedCorp is a direct lender for SBA.
Yeah.
Good resource.
Yeah. And, you can even go on the web and Google grants and research money, too. There's a lot of money available And unfortunately, most business owners or potential business owners are starving at the barbecue with regards to the money that's available. You know, so it's a matter of whether you see the glass half full or half empty. Sometimes it's just a matter of being grateful for the glass, you know, and knowing how to fill the glass and having that opportunity.
Yeah. What are some realistic expectations from, let's say, from the time of an idea, and you kind of maybe share it with somebody, hey, I've got this idea, and you bounce it off of people. Maybe you proceed with applying for an SBA loan or some other funding. What's a realistic time of kind of sticking with it? I know that's hard because it's just conceptual at this point.
Well, that's a key thing, is how much time does it take? And every business has what we call a gestation period.
Okay.
There's going to be some businesses that take longer than others just because of what's needed with regards to equipment or personnel
Or to develop the
establishing.
product.
Exactly. You know, but a lot of what we work with are people or businesses that are in a service type of an industry.
Okay.
You know, it's not manufacturing so much for what we do, so I can't really speak to that because there's probably a longer ramping
Right.
for that. But with regards to either being a representative of another company and selling that product or coming up with your own business to sell a particular service, it can the runway can be quite short, actually. You know, it's a matter of just, again, having a clear vision of what you want your business to look like over the next couple of years, and then being very clear on what are the milestones or the measuring points that you want to hit along the way. And then what I tell people is that successful business owners make it a habit of doing things unsuccessful business owners aren't willing to do. And so that might be in the form of getting out there and, you know, networking, going to chamber meetings, making the phone calls, building
Yeah.
strategic alliances. And a lot of people that have a great idea for a business aren't comfortable getting out and about and, quote, selling
Yeah.
their product or service. So if you're not comfortable with that, you need to align yourself with somebody that can do that for
Right.
you.
Right. I agree. Well, we do have a lot of good resources here and good funding resources, and let's hope that some of people come up with some great ideas and we can get some good jobs rolling here in our community.
Absolutely. Just follow the passion.
Just follow the passion. All right. Well, Machen, thank you so much for coming on. I just see that we've run out of time, but your website is probrilliance.com, and if you need a business coach, you've got some great...
We've got some great tools. If they want, they can
Absolutely.
go online or just send us an email at coach@probrilliance.com and let them know that they saw us on the show here.
20-minute consultation.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Okay, I just sold it for him. How's that? I took it from his website. I really did. Okay, I will got to get going. So thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on, Machen.
Appreciate it.
We are going to take our second break. We will be right back, so stick around.
The water wash me down, babe, and I'm gone. Yeah, and I'm gone. Yes, I'm gone. Lay me down by the river. Lay me down slow. Move around me like the water. Rinse me down.
And we're back now, and if you've looked at the calendar recently, well, you know we're heading into the holidays, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and there's lots of traditions, and one of the big events that has become very big in our community is the annual Turkey Trot. And with me now is my third guest. He is the executive director for A New Day, which is a sponsor and supports the Turkey Trot. So a warm welcome to the program, Greg DeWolf.
Thank you very much, Cheryl.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
And we'll get to the Turkey Trot. Tell us about A New Day.
A New Day is a free counseling service available to all Nevada County residents, and we're currently averaging about 30 new clients every month.
Oh my gosh.
So we do have quite a bit of turnover.
And this is for teenagers too.
Actually from 13 and above. So we're reaching teenagers as well as some of our older clients are in their 80s.
Oh my gosh. And it's absolutely free counseling.
Everything is totally free. They come in and register with the organization, and from that they will hook up with the counselor, and the counselor hopefully will give them the tools they need to heal, like in the circumstance of your loss here with the grief that's going on. Some of your viewers may be dealing with that grief. We have counselors that are trained in the grief cycle and how to heal from it, so they can come in and receive those free services.
Yeah, very nice. And what a great service and resource for our community to have some counseling service like when you need it.
Yes.
And these are hard times. Is there an increase of
Actually,
clients?
I don't know if it's an increase or just
More awareness.
more awareness.
Taken advantage of.
And that is definitely something
Yeah.
that we're working on, is
Yes.
getting out in the community just to let people know that we have these
Right.
services available.
Right.
It is definitely a needed resource, and so we're going into the service groups, talking to different lions, elks, seroptimists, all those groups that we can get. And so we're doing our best to get the word out, but it is definitely the promotion side of
Right,
things.
the outreach. And so we're looking at some photos now. Well, hopefully we kind of adjust your mic, too. We're looking at photos of last year's Turkey Trot. And the Turkey Trot supports the New Day in your counseling services, youth activities for the community. This has, and tell us behind that, of course, Mike Bratton's does this.
The loss of Mike Bratton's son to suicide. The Brattons started the Turkey Trot as a support to our community, and this is their 5th annual event this year. So we're looking at, last year they had a great turnout, and this year we're hoping for even a larger turnout. There's pre-registration. The website will be up on the screen, so people can go to the website and actually pre-register for the event. And the Brattons, with their organization, break up the funds that do come in, and it does support A New Day, youth organizations that are in need of funds. So the money does go back out into the community.
Right. Greg, let's take just a second. I'm concerned that your message isn't getting out. Can you hear Greg okay? So he's all okay. Great. This is so important that I want to make sure that the audio is working because the Turkey Trot does bring depression, suicide awareness, and an outreach, and help support A New Day.
Yes.
So.
And it's a good event. This will be the first year that I've actually attended. Everybody that I'm hearing from it is such a good way to start off Thanksgiving Day.
Absolutely.
They're telling us about college students that are coming back home, and it's becoming an annual event for the family. So they're coming home and participating, able to network with those friends that they haven't seen in a year because they're at different colleges. So it's really turning out to be a real exciting event.
And tradition.
Yes.
And you can see by the photos that we were rolling, there's a lot of people, and of all ages.
Yes.
And you do have, I was looking at your flyer, there's
Shelters are the best places to find a new pet. You'll discover healthy and loving animals.